Sunflowers. Everybody loves them. In this video, I'm going to show you how to save sunflower seeds. Hi, this is Jeremy Stark here from Green Thumb Gardener, here to give you some tips, tutorials, and reviews for all your gardening needs. In today's video, I'm going to show you a very simple way on how to save sunflower seeds. You can apply these steps to basically any sunflowers that you have. So it could be those huge, mammoth, giant sunflower seeds, or it could be the little bit smaller ones that are maybe about this size. Please also, if you like this content, please give us a green thumbs up. And let us know if we've done good with this content here. Also, if you could, please subscribe below and hit the bell. That way there you get notified of any videos that we have. Also, we do have a website called gardenerthumb.com where you can get more tips, tutorials, and reviews and things for all your gardening needs. Now that we get that out of the way, let's get right into the show. All right, so what you want to do to first know when your sunflowers are actually ready to go to be harvested for the seeds. There's a couple of different ways that you can make sure that they are ready. First, obviously basically the flower heads are gonna dry up and they're gonna lose their color, so they're gonna go from yellow to pretty much brown. You know what I would also suggest is the birds really love these seeds. So if there's any way that you can sort of hide them from their view or kind of keep them, what I generally do is when I know that they're ready to go. If I have them in a container, I just kind of put the container up against, something like a fence or something like that, so that they still are, in the sun or whatever, and they're basically, they really start to dry up, so that way the birds don't grab all of them on you. You can do that for, one of them. I mean, it's good to leave them out for the birds. I mean, why not? But if you want to save some, you got to make sure, because they actually really love these things. They go after them, especially the very large mammoth ones. You'll just see them. They'll just be all on there and everything. So I usually just take a few of them that I have and I put a couple in the containers, because I love these things for the garden and for the bees, because they do love these. They're great for the pollinators to attract bees to your garden. So I just make sure I have a couple that are available. Now this variety is not this is not the ones that you would eat. I mean, I'm sure you can make oil out of it. You probably could eat them. I wouldn't for this particular varieties, but there are other varieties that you can actually eat the seeds for it. But this one is a medium-sized plant. I didn't get the big mammoth ones this year, but I just got some medium ones because I wanted to see how they did, and they were okay. They weren't too bad. I had a late start on them because of the bunnies got a hold of these early, but they still managed to grow. Anyways, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that the head is actually dried out. As you can see, it is fairly dry in here. And also another indicator is on the back of the sunflower. You'll notice that there are brown spots on here. Basically, what you're looking for is that it's going to be completely dry, because you don't want this to be wet, and it's actually still forming the seeds a little bit in the back, in here. So you basically want to make sure that it's completely almost dry, and it really is pretty dry to the touch in here. So I cut this one off at the stalk. You can cut the head off if you got a bunch of other ones in there. They're not quite ready yet. You can also do that as well. But there's a few different ways that you could do this. You could just basically cut it off the stalk, and then you just let it sit out for quite some time. I'm pretty simple when it comes to it. I'm just gonna basically go ahead and scrape all the seeds out of here. So we'll show you how that is. All right, so for those of you that don't know, the sunflowers, they were actually used a lot by the Indians. They actually used the stalks. Actually, sometimes when they were immature stalks, they would actually cut them up, and I think they would use them in their food. But you can also I guess they would make some kind of paper material out of it. They would also use the stalks for their beans, where the beans would run up the large stalks, for it, and it would basically be a natural pole for their actual beans. And then they also use the seeds. They would eat them. But a lot of times they're also used for oil nowadays, commercial production of it, other things like that. You can eat them. All right, so here what we're gonna do is we're just basically I'm basically just gonna go in here, and I'm just taking my finger, and I'm basically just kind of scraping out that's in here. And you're gonna get a plate for it, just like this. And what you're doing is you're just scraping out all the seeds that are underneath the layer of the dried out flower head. So it's kind of hard to, I don't know if you can really see it in here, but you have to really open it up to expose them in there. So I'll kind of split this in half, and then I'm basically just rubbing it. So I'm rubbing out all the seeds that are in here because they're kind of, it's almost like a matted rug kind of feeling when you put your hand in here, and it's like in between the little rug fibers. That's basically what it feels like if you have to rub your fingers in here. So I'm just going to go through and just rub all these seeds out. Let's see. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what sunflowers do you guys really like? Are you into the really humongous, gigantic ones, or do you like the little smaller ones that you can kind of put on your deck? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what varieties of sunflowers you guys have. This past summer, there was near where we live in Raleigh, they have a huge field of sunflowers. It was really beautiful. They were just everywhere. I mean, it was, gosh, I don't know how many acres, but it was a lot of sunflowers in one spot. And everybody was down there filming themselves in the sunflowers. But they're really just beautiful to watch when they're in full bloom. All right, so that's half of that head, and I think the other half is, here we go, it's right here. So the other way that you can do this too is, I'm basically just scraping these out, and like I said, it feels like a rug, going through a rug, is that you can cut the head off and basically just let it sit, and it will become really, really dried out, very brittle, and it will just be much easier to pull the seeds out. But this way is still, you can still do it as soon as you cut the head off. It's really not much to it. But most of the seeds I find they're kind of on the outside of it. They seem to be the best ones that are coming out a little bit easier. And the rest of them are just kind of tucked in there. Now, if you have the big giant mammoth ones, you obviously need a bigger plate for this. You can see a little critter right here. That's why you want to do this outside too. I recommend it just do it outside because you get like little bugs and stuff in here, and they're gonna get all over your house if you do it inside. So definitely recommend to do this outdoors, kind of on your porch or something, or somewhere covered up. If you have a lot of these, maybe spread them out. I would let them dry out, to be honest with you, because it will make it a lot easier. Okay, so as you can see, there's quite a bit of stuff in here. The good thing about these seeds is that they're large enough that you basically can just sort them out and pick them out. Now I also once I get these seeds out, I do like to especially if I just cut the head, I do want to let them dry a little bit. I want to get them so they don't have as much moisture on them. So what I'm going to do is just separate all these out into like a little pile, and then I will keep them out, not necessarily in the sun, but I'll just keep them out in a nice, well-ventilated area, and I'll let the outside of it dry a little bit because there is some little moisture on it from the plant itself. But once you get it all dry, and these are actually ready to be planted for next year. You can basically, once they get dried out, I would suggest to get like a little envelope. And I have these little coin envelopes. I'll put a link on the show notes below. They're these little coin envelopes that I love to use for saving any of my seeds. So I just basically label them sunflower seeds in the variety, and then I put the month on it, and then I just store them in there. So, there are some other ones. The mammoth ones that you have, they're going to be a lot bigger. These are a smaller variety of sunflowers, so they're smaller seeds, of course. But the big mammoth ones, I mean, they're like the ones that you would get like when you have sunflower seeds that you eat. They're very large, so you might need a bigger envelope for those ones. But this will be enough to plant for another batch of flowers next year. That's really it. It's pretty simple to save the sunflower seeds. Also, please give us a green thumbs up if you find this video helpful. Also, subscribe below and hit the bell if you want to get a notification of any videos that we do have. Also, check out our website, gardenerthumb.com, where we have some other tips and tricks and everything for your vegetable gardening needs. So hopefully this has been helpful for you, and I really thank you for watching our show, and I'll see you guys in the next video.